Festus is the automaton dragon that the 7 demigods used throughout their adventures in the Heroes of Olympus. Originally a machine that the Hephaestus cabin worked on, Festus served as a powerful invention for the 7. In this video, I'll be talking about Festus, its origins, and how it was used throughout the books. As always, there will be spoilers, so warning on that. And with that, let's get started. Festus was a machine that was made a couple of years before the events of the first series or PJO. Festus is a Latin word for happy, so in literal translation, it's like saying happy the dragon, which Jason actually pointed out in The Lost Hero. It was a gift from the god of craftsmanship Hephaestus to his children, and his kids activated and created the machine. Because this took place a long time ago, Thalia Grace's tree wasn't made yet to protect Camp Haploid, which is why the Hephaestus kids decided to use Festus to defend camp from monsters. The Hephaestus kids seem to have planned a lot for Festus, because if you check around their cabin, you'll be confronted by many things that could have been used for Festus. A demigod son of Hephaestus named Leah Valdez finds bronze wings for the dragon, blueprints for a Greek trireme or a boat that could be for the Argo II, and on that boat was Festus's bronze head. These plans, however, never continued for the Hephaestus kids for many years, because Festus malfunctioned and broke down in the woods of Camp Haploid. Because of this, Festus would be missing for years and was somehow buried in the ground, never to be seen until years later. And now let's go to the events of the Demigod Files, specifically the short story The Bronze Dragon. This title obviously refers to Festus, and let's talk about it. During a game of Capture the Flag in camp, ant creatures called Merkmes found Festus's bronze head, and they attacked the demigod Charles Beckendorf. To save him, Percy Jackson, Annabeth Chase, and Selenia Beauregard tried to reactivate Festus. Beckendorf manages to activate Festus's attack mode, which made Festus attack everyone, including Percy and the rest. With Percy's help, Beckendorf manages to stop Festus, and he declares that Festus was too unstable to use. One event I need to point out when discussing Festus is the curse of the Hephaestus cabin. So, from the moment when Beckendorf stopped Festus, the Hephaestus cabin tried to fix the dragon, but it was no use. This would only get worse after Beckendorf's death in The Last Olympian. Beckendorf was one of the best inventors and children of the Hephaestus cabin, which is why his death was devastating to his half-siblings. From there, the children of Hephaestus had a curse wherein all the inventions they made failed, which is why the attempts to fix Festus led Festus to go haywire and hide in a forest. And now, let's go to the events of The Lost Hero. We meet Leah Valdez enter the Hephaestus cabin, where he learns of the curse and of Festus. Leo manages to find Festus, and he also sees the bronze wings and the blueprint of the Argo II, which makes him apply it to Festus. This moment is a feat of skill on Leo's part, because he manages to fix Festus and break the Hephaestus cabin curse. Leo then manages to use Festus as transportation for him, Jason, and Piper's quest to save Hera. Festus brings them to many places. First, they land in Quebec, and then they head to Detroit. In Detroit, he only attacks them, and Leo had to fix Festus's control disk. They then go to Chicago, and after an encounter with Medea, Jason, Piper, and Leo escape on Festus. When they arrive in Omaha, Leo had to fix Festus again because Festus broke down once more, which brings them to a house. This house ended up being where Midas and the Tirces were, and after a fight, Midas shot lasers that attacked Festus into shreds. In its last dying moments, Festus communicated a message to Leo through Morse code, which was everything can be reused. It was a quote that Hephaestus himself had said to Leo. Leo then prays to his dad to bring Festus away from there, and later on in the book, Leo visits the blueprints of the Argo II, and how it actually mirrors his drawing as a kid. One aspect that was prominent about this was the fact that Festus's head was a part of it, which gives Leo the idea to make the ship. Leo leaves the creation of the Argo II, and in the Mark of Athena, it's finally finished. Festus was placed as the masthead of the Argo II, and it could communicate with Leo through Morse code. Festus was able to help the team a lot by burning Stymphalian birds who tried to attack them and tracking celestial bronze for the crew. At one point in the journey, Leo stumbles upon the works of the great inventor Archimedes. Leo then finds a control disk, which was the one thing that kept breaking down inside Festus, and he finally fixes Festus up with it. That's all we ever get of Festus in the Mark of Athena, so let's go to the House of Hades. Leo decides to upgrade Festus more in this book, which made him temporarily shut down Festus for a while. However, when the crew was attacked by Chione, Piper McLean fights her. Using her charm speak, Piper wakes Festus up, and Festus blasts Chione with fire. Festus became more awake after that, and helps drive the Argo 2 to their next location. After Leo meets and falls in love with Calypso, Leo programs Festus into going to Ogygia a second time, and Piper explains to him how she managed to wake up Festus with her charm speak. Leo was shocked at this, but at the same time, he was pleased that Piper managed to wake Festus up completely. By the end of this book, Leo decides to start his plan of going back to Calypso by fixing Festus up to sail to Ogygia for a second time. To do this, Leo used an invention known as Odysseus' astrolabe. The myth tells the story of how Odysseus invented the astrolabe to find Ogygia the second time, but he wasn't able to use it because he lacked the crystal from Ogygia. Learning about this, Leo managed to make the astrolabe work by getting that missing crystal that he needed. And now, let's head to the events of the Blood of Olympus. Ever since Piper woke Festus up with her powers, Festus has become more active in their adventure. Festus can now steer the ship and navigate for the Seven. Leo also managed to make Festus a new body within the framework of the ship, and Leo used it when he attacked Gaia in the final battle. Festus attacked Gaia with fire, and in one big explosion, Gaia was defeated. Leo and Festus were nowhere to be seen after that, and everyone assumed that they both died. However, this was not the case. Though the attack killed Leo, Festus actually survived. Even though he was pretty battered up by the attack on Gaia, he was still functioning, and he resurrected Leo with the physician's cure from Asclepius. Like what Leo had programmed him before, Festus managed to go to Ogygia, and together they picked Calypso up and took off into the unknown. Not that much is known about the journey Leo and Calypso took after that, but from what we learned in the Trials of Apollo, they went through a lot. Festus helps Leo and Calypso travel, and they overcome many obstacles together, like getting lost in the Sea of Monsters, and an unknown event that happened in Albania. We then meet Festus and the gang in the Hidden Oracle, but before that, we actually get an indirect mention of Festus first. By the end of the book, Apollo or Lester talks about a prophecy that he got from the Grove of Dodona, and it mentioned happiness approaches, which could reference Festus' arrival, as Festus' name in Latin means happy. After the attack of the Colossus Neronis, Apollo meets up with Leo and Calypso, who start to tell stories about their journey. They also mention their quests around the Sea of Monsters, and how Festus helped them all throughout their adventures. And now, let's go to the Dark Prophecy. Festus flies Apollo, Leo, and Calypso to Indianapolis, and he starts breaking down. Leo wasn't able to fully fix him up after the battle against Gaia, which is why Festus became more vulnerable to not working as much as he was in the previous books. Once they land, Leo transforms Festus into a suitcase, but this suitcase gets taken by the God Emperor Commodus. Later on in the book, Leo rescues Festus, and they travel out of there with Apollo and Meg. Festus helped defend the way station when Commodus attacked the place, but Festus was destroyed in the battle. By the end of the book, Leo and Josephine try to take Festus' broken pieces together to build them up again. And later on, we do see Festus almost complete, and the last part they needed was Festus' spleen. Festus becomes completely rebuilt in the Burning Maze, and Leo uses him to visit Piper in Santa Monica. There, Leo learns the horrible truth that his best friend Jason was dead. Leo then offers to take Piper with him on Festus as they comfort each other about what happened. The last we ever get of Festus is in the Tower of Nero. Here, we learn that Leo had been doing community service to teach homeless kids shop skills. He admits that Festus was helping out, and that due to the mist, people don't see a bronze dragon, and instead, they see Festus as a big truck. And that's all we know about Festus so far. Festus is one of the most important aspects in these books. Starting out as a machine that went haywire to the Hephaestus kids, Festus has grown so much and became a powerful machine that the Seven would always rely on. So, how about you? What do you think of Festus? Let me know in the comments down below.